Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and selamat sejahtera. Okay, now we will continue to our next second last LU for the course is deep sea adaptation. Okay, the deep sea is another extreme ocean environment where the animals here have had to adapt in extraordinary ways in order to survive. The deep sea is one of the least explored places on Earth. We know more about the surface of Mars than the ocean floor, and the scientists estimate that there are still have thousands of species down there to discover. Okay, so before we go further, we will start with introduction first. Okay, so ocean consists of 5 main zones. Okay, namely epipelagic, mesopelagic, bathypelagic, abyssopelagic, and hadalpelagic. So in these 5 main zones, the 2 of them are categorized as deep sea, okay, which are bathypelagic to hadalpelagic. Okay, and there are 3 major factors that influence the organism that live in these zones, namely light, temperature, and pressure. Okay, alright, these are the zonation, the vertical zonation of the ocean, starting from the epipelagic zone, where in this zone, this is the zone where the sunlight is applicable, and then after that, okay, beneath epipelagic zone is a mesopelagic zone, also known as the twilight zone. It's between 200 meters until 1000 meter, and then under mesopelagic zone there are bathypelagic zone, also known as the midnight zone, which is between 1000 meters to 4000 meters, and then after that we have the abyss, or also known as abyssopelagic zone, is located at 4000 meters until 6000 meters, and then there is also the deepest part of the ocean called hadalpelagic zone, okay, also known as the trenches, the trench, okay, which is deeper than 6000 or 7000 meters. Okay, as we know that the deepest part of the ocean is the Marianas Trench, okay, which is about 36,000 feet depth. It's about 11 kilometers depth. Okay, and this trench could fit Mount Everest inside and still have a mile or so to go before it reaches the surface. Okay, so what happens when the ocean is this deep? Okay, so well, the deep ocean contains a lot of water, and a lot of water means a lot of pressure. Okay, how these deep sea organisms adapt themselves for feeding? Okay, so to conserve their energy, so they must have a weak muscle, bone which are less dense, and they also have slower metabolic rate and also slower breathing rate. So they will try to optimize. They have to conserve their energy to survive, because in this area the ecosystem are very extreme. It's not suitable for the normal life. Many deep sea fishes, okay, appear by having a huge tooth-filled mouth that attach to an expandable stomach, okay, and they also have small tail to swim. Okay, alright, these are some of the examples, okay, of the organism that can be found in the deep sea. Okay, the one on the left is called gulper eel. Okay, gulper eel, and at the right hand side is called stomatoid fish. In the deep sea, okay, in the deep sea there are 2 conditions. Okay, the 2 conditions are adequate oxygen and oxygen poor condition. Okay, for the adequate oxygen, the cool water dissolve more oxygen than warm water, and oxygen rich water cool off so much and they become dense enough to sink in the sea. Okay, and this situation is called thermohaline currents, which can travel at depth around the globe, and oxygen are enough of life. Okay, in the oxygen poor condition, there are no thermohaline occur, because there is no oxygen that is made from photosynthesis. Okay, so there is no differences between the density of the water in terms of oxygen concentration. Okay, usually the oxygen minimum zone is located at depth between 500 to 1000 meter in temperate and tropical region, and biologists are still investigating how animals survive under this kind of conditions. Okay, the first known animals that live without oxygen that scientists has discovered is in 2010 at 3000 meter depth. Is called Loriciferans. Okay, it's an animal which first discovered in 1983. So it first discovered in 1983, and then after that they discovered again in 2010 at 3000 meters. And this is how Loriciferans look like. How they adapt, okay, in order to get oxygen. They depend on the mitochondria for the oxygen produced. This species has organelles that resembles hydrogenosomes, which some single-cell organisms use to produce energy-storing molecules anaerobically. Okay. And how this deep-sea organism adapt to dark condition. Okay. So in bathypelagic zone, okay, it is start to getting deep and dark. Okay, as I mentioned before, the bathypelagic zones are the between 1000 meter to 4000 meters. Okay, some creatures produce light, okay, through bioluminescence in deep water. There are two ways on how this deep organism produce light. Okay, number one is through symbiotic bacteria living on the fish, and the other one is through self-luminous cells called photophores. They use this light to attract mates, gain food, stay in school, and avoid the predators. Some ocean fish, okay, for example, barrel-eye fish, they have evolved excellent eyes for seeing in near total darkness. Okay, you can search in the net. Okay, barrel-eye fish. This is very beautiful fish. Okay, this is an example of fish that are capable of producing light. Okay, in the total darkness, in the very deep sea, it's a very light conditions. Okay, it's anglerfish and flashlight fish. They use it like organ as a flashlight to help it see in the dark. How they can adapt? Okay, how this deep sea organism adapt to high pressure? Okay, so what happens when the ocean is deeper? Okay, if we go deeper to the oceans, well, the deep ocean contains a lot of water, and a lot of water means a lot of pressure pushing down on you. If you do 5 kilometers down, okay, or maybe 5 miles down, it will feel like someone stacked 50 airplanes on top of each other and then drop them on your head. To avoid being crushed to death down there, most organisms are built differently than those that live closer to the surface. Okay, at the surface, okay, this is the normal fish, which live on near to the surface where the pressure is minimal. Okay, the fishes on the surface have swimming bladders that are filled with gas, which help them float up and down. But fish in the deep sea don't have those. Okay, so we will see. Okay, pressure increased by approximately 1 atm. Okay, which every 10 meter increase in depth. Many animals in deep sea live in pressure that is 100 times greater than animals on land. These are the examples that can adapt crushing pressure. Okay, for example, one of them are pressure adapted microbes. Okay, they have pressure resistant structure of membranes and proteins and piezolyte. Okay, piezolites are small organic molecules discovered, okay, that somehow prevent pressure from distorting large biomolecules. Okay, the example of piezolite are TMAO, trimethylamine oxide. Okay, and the examples of microbes that can adapt high pressure conditions are barophilic bacteria. Okay, I think you can understand what is the meaning of baro. Baro means is pressure. Philic is philic love. Okay, light. Okay, love. Okay, they can survive in the high pressure condition. Another example is anglerfish. Okay, they have reduced skeletons. Okay, and other fish have reduced muscle mass. Okay, the organism that can live in the high pressure conditions, they have swim bladders that contains oil, which is denser, or they don't have a swim bladder at all. Okay, these fishes' bodies also contains a lot of water, and they have very thin skeleton, which helps them match the pressure of water outside with the pressure inside of their bodies. Okay, another example of organisms are sea cucumbers. Okay, in the deep sea cucumbers have bodies that mostly composed of water, and others have proteins and enzymes that adapted to work at pressure. Another one is a blobfish. Blobfish is I think it's a representative of a good example of deep sea organism. Okay, they have mostly a gelatinous mass. Okay, with a density just less than water. This make it able to withstand crushing pressure at 1000 meters. The deep sea creatures, okay, made up of entirely liquid or solid materials, okay, like I mentioned before, no air-filled cavities such as swim bladder. Some of them have swim bladder, but it contains oil instead of air, and the flesh and bones are soft and flabby. Okay, I think you're already familiar with anglerfish and sea cucumber, but I would like to introduce you with this kind of very unique fish. It's called blobfish. Okay, this is most of the scientists prefer to use this kind of fish as a representative of the fishes that can be found in the very high pressure condition. Okay, below 3000 to 4000 meters, the water is in isothermal state. What is the meaning of isothermal state? Okay, iso is not really change a lot. Okay, it's almost the same state. Thermal is temperature. Okay, there are no seasonal temperature changes or any annual change in terms of temperature in the ocean especially. Deep sea fish can adapt to the cool temperature due to their modification in enzymes to optimize their function for the cool environment. Okay, so the enzyme is called LDH, okay, lactate dehydrogenase. The pyruvate of the enzyme LDH obtained from fishes is found to be at minimal level at low temperature. There is another part in the deep sea which are called the hydrothermal vent. Okay, a hydrothermal vent forms when seawater meets hot magma. Seawater in hydrothermal vents may reach temperature over 340 degrees C. At hydrothermal vents, energy arrives in chemical form as hydrogen sulfide, and the producers are chemosynthetic bacteria. As the conclusion, the deep sea organism adapted, okay, to an environment that is as mysterious as another planet. Deep sea are places where sunlight not able to penetrate with increasing in depth of the sea water. The deep sea organism adapting to darker place by create their own light. Pressure in the deep sea water is higher as deeper down to the sea. The pressure is 100 times greater than sea level. Most creatures at this depth has flexible bones and organs that give as their change depth. Wonderful and great adaptation of these deep sea creatures allow for the maintaining of life processes towards extreme condition in the deep sea. These are just a few of the amazing adaptation found in the deep sea. Less than 5% of the ocean have been explored, which means we can only imagine what other type of organism we may find in the future and what amazing adaptation that may have evolved to help them survive. That's all for the LU today. Thank you so much.